And we're live. Hello and welcome to episode 194 of Hex Therapy Live. I'm your host, Maddie ALLin. This is the 194th week in a row that I've gone live every Tuesday and Thursday night to tell you about Hex and Pulse Chain. The news today, it's probably going to be pretty short. I got word that Kareem is out of jail. I heard directly from him, so that's a blessing. And I'm glad that the curse is lifted now from all of Hex, and prices are down in ETH and all of crypto. Recently, but I still have hope, and lifting a curse that helps. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so really excited. I think Kareem is going to do a special episode with me or somebody else. And then he also said he's willing to come on Tuesday night. So that's really exciting. Again, we're really grateful that the community helped Kareem out. I think certain things were misunderstood, and so he can set the record straight. And I think that everybody who contributed is an amazing member of the community. And sometimes to be a leader, you don't always do what's popular, but you have to do what's right. So that's kind of the mode we're in these days. And also looking forward to my new product that's going to be coming out soon, the physical pulse chain coin that allows you to onboard yourself, family, or friends into crypto much easier. I've onboarded 120 friends and family with the Ethereum version of it, but now we've got a Pulse Chain version, first edition, that's coming out soon. Probably in a week or two, those will go on sale. So that's pretty exciting. I already covered on Tuesday night. We may have gotten some good news, or things are at least moving a little bit in the South Carolina case. We also talked about the Binance case, and so that's cool to see that that's moving again too. So all in all, this week has been in some ways kind of a dead news week for crypto, and in other ways, there's been a lot of news earlier in the week that's specific to Hex and Pulse Chain. But yeah, there you go. Let me see if I have any notes here on Twitter of anything I need to discuss before we wrap it up. And if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them. You know, it's not all the different founders and all the different people who've created trustless smart contracts in crypto, like Time Pays Me, that are available to you every Tuesday and Thursday night. So hopefully, if you have hopefully all the questions have already been answered. But let's see here. Let's see. And good bookmarked here. Flav was at the. That's important. Oh, here we go. Apple is getting ready to make it so that developers can offer in-app NFC transactions using the secure element. And the first example is that the Circle CEO says that they're going to use this with USDC. So like being able to tap to pay with crypto, it's coming. And that's, I mean, that's probably like one of the biggest general crypto news stories this week, is that Apple is finally making a move, at least to allow developers to use USDC. But I think it's also going to apply to other cryptos as well. I'm sure it'll be highly regulated through their app store. But yeah, imagine like how cool it'll be if people get the experience of being able to use crypto in their transactions, and then it'll make more sense to them, even though in my opinion, crypto is better as a store of value. The first times I used Bitcoin, maybe not Ethereum, but the first times I used Bitcoin back in like 2016, I was using it to pay for something. No, it wasn't drugs, but like it was just whatever it was. I have a friend who I think paid some outrageous like half a Bitcoin for a VPN for like 6 months or something. So yeah, pretty brutal. But if nobody had ever done that, maybe crypto wouldn't have caught on, or maybe it wouldn't have clicked for some people. I don't really have the perspective of being somebody who never used crypto for transactions, or even, you know, came to it as an investment first of all. Like I wish that I had bought more Bitcoin or Ethereum in, in those early years, but no, didn't get it yet. But the point is that some people have to use it in order to understand it. Other people understand it and then they'll use it or have it as a store of value. Um, there's an event that's being held in Las Vegas on March 6th through 9th, 2025. That's being called the PLS 369 conference, with put on by the Pulse Chain Tour folks and everything. And so I think they did a good job of naming it so that it's not confusing, so that people won't think it's like something that I'm doing. But I can at least pledge my support and say that I love it when other people put on in-person events. I put on, so far I have the record, and this, like includes Richard, although I don't know that he was going for the record, but I also beat the highest of stakes, and everybody having the 369 meetup that I did in Las Vegas in 2022. We had like 300, well, there were at least 369 people who paid. There were, no, I'm sorry. No, there were, no, cause sorry, that was the first meetup that I did. The largest attended conference or any Hex event, was 369 2022. And we had in between 550 and 600 people in attendance. And the group pictures really show it, as well as the conference registrations and everything. So, hey, I invite everybody to try to break that record. I would love to see somebody take the record. And, people know that I've continued to do meetups a couple times a year. In the past, they were more formal. But I've gotten farther away from the in-person events, and I've focused more on the 2 online conferences that I do every year that are 4 days long, and it's quite the feat that I continue to pull off and will continue to pull off. The next Hex conference it's on the same days every year. It's January 6th through 9th. And so 2025, 26, 27, it's always been the same days. So, like we're going to have number 5, the online Hex conference, number 5 here in January 2025. And I expect the prices to be much higher. The cool thing about the Hex conference is that the prices pumped like all the way from the last day of the Hex conference. So like if you're watching the Hex conference in the first 3 days, those were like some of the best. I think that those were some of the best days you could ever buy in like the history of Pulse Chain. And then you got this like massive pump that started that it took everything up like a 5x or 10x, I think, in the case of Ink. But Pulse went up 3 to 5x in between January, February, and March. And then you had a March top out throughout all of crypto. And of course, some people allege that it was CZ getting locked up, is probably just the normal 4-year cycle that was, bringing it to that point where crypto topped out in March. And it was actually when we were at a meetup in Vegas, 369 2024, this past year, that the Pulse Chain Tour had put on, that the price, basically the price of everything pumped so that Pulse X just touched sac rate at 0.0001, and then everything else fell back down. And right now, Pulse X is down 80% from that, not all-time high, but like recent high. And then I don't know how much Pulse and Ink I think Ink is down about 80%, and Pulse is down maybe a little bit less, or maybe something similar. Well, no, because if the ratio between Pulse and Pulse X has diverged, then yeah, I don't know. The point is, now is a good time to buy, and you could have been like me and DCA'd a day or two ago and not gotten as good of a deal as you can get today, or maybe you want to pull the trigger now on buying. But yeah, prices are down, and that's good for people who are new or people who are accumulating, people who are selling things to buy crypto, selling things that they don't need, playing with money that you don't mind losing or sitting on for a long period of time. So for me, I've been scraping the dust of lots of different wallets that I've had over the years. I've probably had in between 300 and 600 addresses, because it's actually best practice in many parts of crypto to use a different address if you're doing a different transaction. Now, not everybody follows that, but and certainly I don't either. I have some wallets that have hundreds of transactions just on their own. But the point is, I had a lot of wallets that were sitting there, for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I'm going to save that story for a different time. But I also have another very cool story to write up and share, because it's just a good story. And then I'll be able to present it better on camera because I will have written it out. But anyway, so the lots of people have referral links, so you get 36% off the Pulse conference, the PLS 369 conference. And it's going to be really, really important to differentiate these conferences too, because that's how Bitcoin and Ethereum work, right? Like, you have consensus, you have token 2049, you have the Bitcoin conference, you have the Ethereum conference, you have the bankless one, permissionless. Like, you don't want to get it twisted. And we've had this happen before where people were coming up and thanking me for putting on an event that I didn't put on, and that felt bad for me and for the people who were actually doing the hard work. And so, because I've put on so many in-person events and conferences, it's important to me that, if you're going to speak about it, speak correctly about what the name of the conference is. In this case, it's the PLS 369 conference. Like, for me, and that's run by like RG3, by ALLin, the Hexakin, by a wild SJ, and lots of people are volunteering, and that's great. Like I said, I think somebody needs to break the world record for the largest Pulse Chain and Hex meetup in-person event. So so like hexconference.com, and the Hex Conference is the online thing that I put on in January 6th through 9th. And then I put on the Pulse Chain Conference online. That's going to be now. So at first it was the Sac-iversary, and then we did one around the launch of Pulse Chain, and then we did one around the launch anniversary this past year. And so I think that one's going to stay the same as well, just to keep everything simple. And this way you get a Hex conference at the beginning of the year, about 5 months. Well, yeah, 5 months later, you're getting a Pulse conference, and that's marking, the 2-year anniversary of Pulse Chain, and so on and so forth. So, yes, I support other people putting on events, and I'm grateful because then I get to attend, and I get to enjoy it too. There was a long time where I was the only one putting on events that didn't like embezzle money from the community, and uh, you know that then I had to keep doing it until somebody else came along that is trustworthy, and that's who came along now. So the PLS 369 conference, check it out in Las Vegas. There's a lot of people who have referral links where you can get a discount, and then they get some sort of credit. And I'm not involved with it at all, other than probably, encouraging people to attend and attending myself. Cool. Yeah. So I almost forgot about that one. That's good. We saw Donald Trump and Elon Musk have their little fireside chat for 3 hours this week. That was interesting. The US government is like dumping Bitcoin again, but eventually they'll run out just like Germany did, and everything will be back on track. Like, it's normal to have a mid-cycle correction of all this stuff. Some people think Bitcoin's going down to 43K or 53K or whatever. I'm not worried about the short-term price. I'm, investing money that I am willing to lose. And it's because I realized that the rewards have been so great in the past. And that might not be right for you, but for me, I like Bitcoin. I like Ethereum even more. And I like Pulse Chain and PulseX in particular, and Inc. I like those best of all. And then, Hex, that's my long-term retirement account. So I don't get as excited for Hex in the short term or the medium term, because that's such a long-term play. But doesn't mean I'm not using Hex most of all, in a sense. And maybe someday that will, maybe as I continue to earn and continue to be productive and to bring new money into crypto, maybe at some point my my Pulse and PulseX and Ink bags will like be bigger than my Hex bags. But when Pulse Chain launched, actually, when Pulse Chain was doing a sacrifice, I already had time locked most of my funds, and I had, had pretty much put my entire net worth into crypto and then into Hex, and then time locked it. So, that was before we went on this huge run. Like, that was before 5 cents, probably mostly before 2 cents. And so, yeah, like, I basically had to start over with my liquid bags this cycle. And then I've taken some of my funds from Pulse Chain and PulseX, and I've time locked that in Time Pays Me. And I've also mostly am like learning, well, hey, if you want to yield farm, basically you can't have it locked in Time Pays Me. Maybe we'll fix that someday. But yeah, it's been good. It's been good to like kind of start over, and that was the whole point, was like, okay, well, you're young and productive, and so why don't you go out there and like, even though you could retire, like I said I was retired, but did I really retire? No, I work literally every day. Sometimes even more hours than I did, when I was working a therapist and working every hour that the clinic was open, because I loved it so much. Like sometimes now I'm working even more hours in order to do all the things that I'm doing in crypto. And so, when you put on a conference that 600 people attend with like no background experience and, you know, create these events, that takes weeks to plan. And you could pay somebody and it would take them weeks to plan it, or you could have somebody like me come along who's a volunteer, who's trying to pay it forward. And then, eventually, I've grown into creating a decentralized smart contract that allows you to time lock your pulse and hex and whatever else, any ERC or PRC20. I developed, I invented, and this was a long, it was like I co-invented with Future Us this way, all aspects of time pays me were co-invented by us. And we invented this way to undo a hack that's super revolutionary. We spend a lot of time making sure that everything's done correctly. And so, yeah, so I've stayed super busy, but the idea was always, whether I'm doing something productive within crypto or in, outside of crypto, the idea was that if you time lock your money and you're young and productive, then you can stay hungry. You can continue to basically not rest on your laurels, right? So that's kind of like an important, I guess, background point about myself and about a lot of people who are in Hex who maybe like didn't have to have this rough transition between like going from working to not working and then to working again or something. Like some of us have been working the whole time. And, but there's nothing wrong, no matter what age you are, with like retiring. And, if you made it in Hex and Pulse Chain and you got to retire for any amount of time, that's pretty cool. Like that's a success story. And so, I don't want to like overshadow any of that, but I can tell you that because this show is called Hex Therapy Live, like part of the reasoning for why some of us time locked for so long and so much is because we wanted the mental health benefits of continuing to work, right? And so that's part of this idea of like sudden wealth syndrome and then sudden poor syndrome are things that that don't always feel like you think that they would feel. It comes along with like certain challenges, and you don't have to develop a whole syndrome to like recognize that there are thousands, if not tens of thousands of people, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people that have gotten rich in crypto. My the first Ethereum that I ever bought was like $13. Unfortunately, the software that I was using, it suggested that you buy in between half and one. And so that's all I bought, right? I wound up in the right place at the right time, just didn't buy the right amount. So with that being said, like if you're not, like if it's not your last $13 and you're willing to lose it, like maybe buy more than $13 of Pulse Chain. Not financial advice, right? But like maybe you're early like I was to Ethereum, and maybe someday you will wish that you bought more. I see a bookmark here that says that the Tornado.cash developer is like raising money for his legal defense to make basically to make sure that bad precedents don't get set and like ruin everything for crypto. And so that's really cool. He's got the hashtag defend Roman Storm. He's got a website called wewantjusticedao.org/juicebox. I saw some people were saying that they couldn't donate because like the funds had to be traceable on chain or something, because he's like locked up for creating privacy, which normally you would think is a human right. So I don't know if like his crypto fundraising is like being limited somehow by his lawyers, and that like you have to send from an exchange or something, like some KYC weird, like unconstitutional thing. But I noticed that and didn't have a chance to look into it. So, do your own research there. I saw that the Bankless Bros donated like $10,000. So like, that's cool. And I think some other whales have donated like even more, but he needs like a couple million or more for his legal defense. And there you go, So I'm not raising money for that one. And, but I'm still bringing it to your attention because it's the right thing to do. Let's see. Central banks print more currency in a millisecond than you earn in a lifetime, making your hard work worthless over time, stealing your most precious asset, your lifetime. It was tweeted by the account Carl B. Menger, along with a cool video of them turning paper into $100 bills. What else we got here? There's a big shakeup with like BTC, with wrapped BTC, because the people who have been, so this is when you take Bitcoin and you like wrap it in a special custody smart contract, and then you can play with it on Ethereum, which like for a lot of years, that was the only way that people could do Bitcoin plus DeFi, because Bitcoin didn't have a bunch of like shitcoin infrastructure built on top of it. And so BitGo was like the company that was having the good track record and making sure that nobody was gambling with your Bitcoin and it would be gone like when you came back for it. And basically you can imagine this kind of like a bridge custody situation where there's no completely trustless way to take Bitcoin and like play with it in DeFi. And so this was kind of like a duct taped on situation, where basically like you had a company and like they had a physical address and you could trust them to some extent. Like, I think that there were like big players in Hex and Pulse Chain that that are using wrapped Bitcoin. So it's super kind of like relevant to our ecosystem to some extent. It's thought that the OA might, or that Richard or somebody might have a large amount of wrapped BTC, and like a lot. And so so this is kind of a big deal. And BitGo, they were not trustless. They were like trusted people who weren't gonna gamble your coins away. It would be like if you used a bridge and then you were like, oh, I can trust that bridge to this extent, and I'm accepting this amount of risk because, and it's not like an all or none. Like you do the act of trusting something, whether it has risk or not. You have to decide whether you're going to trust something, but it's not trustless unless it's a smart contract that doesn't have any externalities. Like with Hex, there are very few externalities, which make it strongly immutable, etc. However, with wrapped BTC, you were trusting BitGo. Well, they announced that it was unprofitable for them to do all this Bitcoin wrapping. And so they're going to hand it off to Justin Sun of Tron, who's not the most trustworthy person. He's actually got like a bad transparency track record with custodying things, supposedly. And so, so there's this question of what is everybody going to do with their wrapped Bitcoin? And some people are thinking that Coinbase is going to come out with their version of like Coinbase BTC or CB BTC. And so people will have to do their own research and like, figure out what makes sense for them. But that's it's like a major change. I mean, I don't know exactly how much Bitcoin is like held by BitGo, but it's some number of percent of the Bitcoin that are in existence. 154,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, that's a lot. So if there's, you know, if 5 million Bitcoin or 2 million Bitcoin have been lost, let's just say let's say that there are going to be 6 million Bitcoin lost out of the 21 million that will ever exist. Basically 150,000 divided by 15 million is like 1% of all the Bitcoin, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's enough to like wreck things. So hopefully the migration out of like certain liquidity pools and whatever people are doing with their wrapped Bitcoin doesn't like collapse all of DeFi. I don't think it will. I think people are just being diligent and being smart about what risks they take and who they trust when it comes to their Bitcoin. Of course, the best thing of all is not your keys, not your coins, and you should hold your own native Bitcoin with your own keys that you generated yourself on a hardware device, such as a Trezor. And I have a link in the description below where you can buy a Trezor. You can even buy a Trezor that only works with Bitcoin, or you can buy one that works with Bitcoin and Ethereum and everything else. So that's cool. If you use my referral link, then I get like $5 or $10 of Bitcoin, and you get the same price you would get already. So that's cool. What else? We had Johnny Chaos on the show on Tuesday night. I didn't put it like in the thumbnail, but I did a special upload to Twitter. So either you can like watch, and it's not like just a 3-minute recording of him at the beginning. It's like he was on for an hour and 15 minutes. Just got hit by lightning and my screen turned off. I don't know if I'm still recording, but that's pretty crazy. Looks like my screen just got busted up by a lightning storm. Oh, there we go. We're back. And yeah, still alive. Wow. Well, that's fun. Yeah, like startled me a little bit there with like the lightning and then the thunder all on top of each other, and then my screen going out. I'm like, oh, what's happening? There you go. Why are you shilling Bitcoin? Just to upset you, my friend. All right. Can time pays me be interacted with directly on the smart contract instead of a front end? This is the case. This is in case the front end no longer is available a decade later. Yes. It's the same way like you would use Etherscan to run a contract function. Pulse scan, basically there's a pulse scan product that allows you to run contract code without a front end. So there you go. Great question. And you have to be more of an advanced user for that. But yeah, so far the front end has been up and running and doing well. But I would always ask the same question myself. What's up, Suzy Q? Great to see you. Is this stream a scam? No, it's not. What's up, Knox Bill? Who believes the hardest? Great question. What's up, Matt? Brief status on the RH court case, please. The SEC sued Richard in civil court because they said he misused $14 million or something, some similar amount. And of course, if he had used that money for development, then they might have said that he was a security. But now they're saying that he's a security. And the federal court in New York hasn't even decided if the SEC has jurisdiction over Richard and Hex. And how can you sue a smart contract that's just computer code? That would probably be a bad precedent for the entire tech space, the entire tech industry, like all cryptocurrencies, right? The SEC could call everything a security. So the Richard hired like the best lawyers money can buy, the ones that won against the corrupt SEC for Elon Musk. And so there you go. October 24th is the court date for the hearing about whether they have jurisdiction. And then we should be getting some sort of like big pile of paperwork. Like the public should be getting some pile of paperwork of like the SEC like responding to the response that Richard's lawyers made, and then back and forth. So there's like some responses that have been made private, and that's based on the judge. And so now it should be released, I think, in the next week or two. We should get like a major update in the next week or two. And then the next key date is October 24th. And then to even hear what the judge decides on October 24th, you might hear it the same day. That would be very unusual. But since there's going to be a huge crowd there, I don't know if that's a possibility. But the judge has up to 90 days. So like you're thinking kind of by the end of the year is when, or like the beginning of next year is when you would hear whether the case gets thrown out or not. What's up, Arc Hexagon? Good to see you there. What's up, D-Gen Hexagon? Good to see you. Yeah, so I was literally gonna come on and do like a 2 or 3 minute episode, but here we are 37 minutes later. Here we are. Looks like Hex class action lawsuit against Binance is back on the menu, boys. A meme from Das Bomb. Yeah. So that's the news, folks. There you go. Lots of people have been streaming throughout this downturn in Hex and Pulse Chain. Got Crypto 7, Hexologist, Dollar Cost Crypto, Charlie. You got Access Live and Crypto Coffee. You've had streams from What the Hex every week. It's Thursday. We should have had an episode yesterday. I haven't been watching. I painted my wall green to show my commitment to YouTubing. That was fun. I should show it off. Virtual background. None. Yeah, look at that. So professional. I just 10x'd my IRL professionalism. Cool. Ben Dubard streamed Creative Crypto. Your friend Sami, of course, puts out many videos a day covering Hex and Pulse Chain. You had DGen Roundtable streaming. You had, let's see. I took a long post from Nuclear Herbs and I translated it into Snoop Dogg's voice and posted it on Twitter. That was like a 15-minute segment. Next time he writes something up, he might use some lyrics too. We had the DeFi Crypto Alliance with Corey Geary and Dane. They've been streaming regularly, multiple times a week. You had Frank Molina streaming with the DeFi Capital show. That's a new episode here this week that we had. Let's see. Rachel Laub was streaming. I found a new streamer to me. I wasn't listening to them before, and now I like tuning into the Crypto Wonder podcast. That's a good one. You had Hans Crypto doing a video this week. Brother Crypt. Oh, that's an old one. Richard Hart even posted some political videos that he made years back and reposted them this week. What else? There's the DeFi Down Under show. That was awesome. I watch that every week. Usually there's a Cabana's happy hour that was 2 weeks ago. That was a particularly good episode. If you want to be bullish about Ethereum, go listen to Buck Fiat on that stream with Buck and Dylan and Big K and Cabana. That is probably like my top pick of a stream to share that'll make you bullish on crypto. You also have Hex Token that streams every day. I think like the longest streaming Hex streamer. Yeah. You had Hex Futures Eco Builder streaming this week multiple times. Yeah, guys, and that's all just like what I'm aware of. You know, there could be much more out there. Dollar Cost Crypto, I already said. Crypto Coffee. Wrecked to Riches has some new episodes out. It looks like I haven't tuned into that yet, but I'm going to check it out. Corey Costa's Crypto Coins had some streams. Yeah, Wrecked to Riches. Has he been talking about other coins? Yeah. 10x apology. What? Let's see. Money Gang Crypto, Hex Fire, Crispy Man has been streaming. Adam Stokes. Let's see. Funding Gym. Discourse Syndicate puts out a show every week. Right. And this is just off the top of my head. So there you go. Lots of good shows to watch. I'm going to drop the link for Cabana Crypto's show. Because again, that's the one that made me the most bullish and like taught me the most. Lots of meme coins being created under Pulse Chain. Can you elaborate on this, please? I'm not a huge fan of meme coins, but if I am a fan of a meme coin, then it's something that has a sub community of people that are not bullying and hating on others and giving people a bad name. So there's something called the Camel Clan. And I'm going to look up the Telegram of where you can get connected to these guys. But that's the one that I like in terms of like a brand new group of people who are making memes and NFTs and coins and stuff like that. It's t.me/Camel Clan. So I dropped the link to Cabana's stream. I just dropped the link to t.me/Camel Clan. Just trying to keep the PulseX hope alive down here in Florida. That's awesome, Tracy A. I'm doing the same thing. So very cool. Very cool. Awesome, everybody. Well, let me see. Is there anything else? I think that's it. I think you're all caught up for the week. So hope this was helpful. Hope you enjoyed Hex Therapy Live number 194. Can you believe In just 6 short weeks, we'll be at episode 200. Crazy. Let me see. And the biggest news today was Cream's out. So that's cool. All right. Hex Therapy Live. I'm queuing up the thumbnail here. All right. Until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.